Welcome to the Social Chameleon Show, where it's our goal to help you learn, grow, and transform into the person we become. Today, we're talking about an article I came across a little while ago from the Daily Stoic.com. If it's not simple, it's bullshit. I'm going to read this. Bullshit. Bullshit. I'm going to read through this real quick. I'm not the best reader, but that's okay. It's a real short article. Hopefully.
Thank God.
I'll also link to it as well. There's not much in Stoicism that's particularly groundbreaking. Focus on what you can control. Be a good person. Manage your emotions. A lot of the famous Stoic quotes are pretty simple too. Epictetus, if it's not the things that upset us, it's our judgment about things. Marcus Aurelius, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Seneca, we suffer more in imagination than reality. Elementary school level simplicity isn't a bug, it's a feature. There's a great line in Kurt Vonnegut's Cat's Cradle. Dr. Honenicker, sorry if I messed that up, used to say that any scientist who couldn't explain to an 8-year-old what he was doing was a charlatan. A lot of complicated stuff isn't actually complicated. It's made to seem that way so no one will notice that it's actually bullshit. If a lot of philosophy is badly written, because if it wasn't, people would actually understand that what the philosopher was saying and laugh them out of a job. What the Stoic writings are about is not impressing anyone, nor making the reader feel like a genius for getting all the way through it. No, they are designed to be short and to the point. No puffery, no throat clearing, using the absolute minimal number of words to make the most straightforward point. We might call this counter signaling, or better, a show of confidence. When you've got the goods, you don't need to dress it up or make a hard sale. You just lay it out and let people take it or leave it. So it should go for us in all aspects of our lives. No obfuscation, no dog and pony show, no sound and fury. Just do the work. Be the best version you can be, and people can take it or leave it. That's the end of the article. And we wanted to go through some key points. I love this concept.
Of course you do. It's like, look, number one, it has the word bullshit in it. Like, of course you get.
I think twice.
And then number two, I guess the simplest version of shit. That's like right up your alley, dude. It's like 4-hour work week. It's just like, you know.
I love it. I love it.
Like, I love it.
I love it. I just do. I like this thing was saying, and it's probably why I'm more confirmation bias, why it resonates with me is there's so many things that are like so overly fucking complicated for no good reason. And if you stop to just ask somebody or think about it, it's like, why is there 17 steps to do this? And it's like, I don't know. That's just how it's always been done.
Yeah. I mean, there's that aspect. And then you also have like the other aspect. I call it maybe chest puffery or whatever the fuck. Like you want to step up and seem like you're this awesome alpha person, or that you're so complicated, or that you're so sophisticated. I mean, like feeding that ego that tend to either exaggerate the process and or make the story, you know what I mean? Like more complex than it needs to be, you know, to feed your own ego. Like you also have that kind of issue as well sometimes. So I don't know.
You know, it's funny you say that. The people I find that are like that, they try to pretend like they're smarter than they are. They try to they try to talk it up a bit.
Thank you for saying. I wasn't going to say that, but thank you for saying that.
I don't give a shit. But I noticed those kind of people. What it seems from what I've observed over time is those people wish they were educated. They wish they were more educated. They wish they were smarter. Maybe they had a master's or a PhD or something like that. So to feel that way or to fill that void, they speak higher than they are educated.
Right.
And, like they're saying to feed that ego. That's what I've observed.
I mean, that's true, but you also have those people who are like fake it till you make it. Sometimes that fake it phase takes 20 to 30 years, but I mean, whatever the case is gonna be. I mean, I because I see so many people and I deal with it all the time. I guess I don't knock it down immediately. because I understand like I'm hopeful, maybe I'm just the positive person, that in hope of them doing that, that either will A, build confidence, and or B, at least allow them to, I guess, get to the next level. I don't know if I'm saying that. You know what I'm trying to say? Maybe not.
I know what you're saying. I hear you.
It's like you have to jump. You can only jump 3 feet high now, but your next benchmark is 7 foot. Like you gotta fake it to build or do whatever you gotta do to get up to that next marker, because like that bar is set way, way high.
And they're acting like and talking like I can already jump 7 feet, and it's like, listen, bud, you can't. But I like the confidence.
But I mean, it's just like, you know, I love movies. So going back to Neo in the Matrix, like, you know, when he made the first jump, like he's like, nobody makes the first jump. Like, no, I think he can do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like at that point, like, you got to build yourself up. You need to have something to stand on, because otherwise the truth is you have nothing to stand on. Right. Which, you know, is easily seen sometimes. But, you know, nonetheless, I believe that in that positiveness. But you're right, though. I mean, there comes a point when you got to get real and be like, okay, I built this up and, you know, I'm not really there yet. There's got to be a point when you realize that. And that's hard. That's a hard dichotomy to balance. Right.
But, and then there is I guess you got to break those apart. You got to understand, like, you know, maybe putting on a persona or a different type of person. Like when I'm, you know, when we're doing this podcast, I'm going to channel my inner Tim Ferriss or whatever it is. And I'm going to embrace that person. I'm going to put this on and I'm going to embody that person. And then when we're done, I got to be somebody else now. I got to be dad. I'm going to be the best dad person I know. And like, you know, that Superman, Clark Kent kind of thing. Like there's an element to that is something that you need to maybe embrace. Maybe you need to put on a pair of glasses so you feel like this other person that you're trying to channel or whatever it is.
Right. And like I said, I'm not taking away the fact that, you know, that's acceptable or that that's good behavior. I'm just taking to the fact that there is a point when all you do have is faith. All you do have is this confidence. All you do have is something that you're not, because, you know, that's all you've got. And you got to make the best with that situation. But getting back to the whole simplicity of the article and the story is that, like, you know, the last phrase says it well, like no dog and pony show. You know what I mean? Like this is just, you know, be the best version of yourself. And, you know, granted, there's a part of that hopefully is genuine and hopefully is real, and not all of it is fake and or facade, but the best version of yourself, meaning like not fake or, you know, in its most simplistic form. I guess to me, that part of the article resonates a little bit more with me. The fact that it's, I guess, either being simplistic. You know, we have this thing here, like this bullet that you have, like, it's not things that upset us. It's our judgments about things. Right. Those are the kind of things to me that resonate more. It's like you got to focus on what you yourself as a person have on the inside. It's not necessarily what else is going on the outside. You got to focus inward. It's like we're adding to the stress. We're adding to the anger. You know, our expectations of what the world are and what the world is supposed to be is what adds to this frustration. And the thing I like about this article is if you can simplify yourself to that, then you kind of understand the difference between something that's your own judgment or something that's an expectation of you right from the outside source, like I guess the obliger status or something like that. I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah, that's why, you know, I love this. I love that quote from Epictetus as well. It's like, you know, when something happens, you know, if you piss me off, you didn't do that. I did that. Yeah. I assigned that. I let that happen.
Mad, right? Yeah.
Yes, I'm the one that's. You didn't make me mad. You didn't make me angry or sad or frustrated or overworked or overwhelmed. I'm doing that. I'm doing that to myself. Yep. You know, I'm allowing that to happen. I'm allowing myself to feel that way. And I know a lot of people are out there. Y'all are full of shit. Ain't no bull. That motherfucker made me mad. He did that. No, you're allowing that to be that. You're allowing their action or inaction or whatever it is. And that's the kind of thing that feel that way.
That's the kind of things that I like to bring to light and bring to attention. I think people get caught up in patterns a lot of the time. And it's just this overlying pattern, and whatever that is, for me, I've learned to build better patterns, and possibly you have too, from what it sounds like.
Yeah.
When something happens that's outside of my control, and that's the key, outside of my control, like I try not to get mad at that. I try not to think, and even like, I guess just recently, as of last night, like when things come to me that are not necessarily what I would consider normal, right, or what would sometimes be something new that gets introduced to me, I'm not quick to just dismiss that. Like a lot of people are so set in whatever, and they develop this pattern of, oh, this is a new intruding idea that's going to be dangerous or that's going to be harmful to me. I need to automatically dismiss it. Oh, that's crazy. You're crazy. Like I don't tend to do that. I kind of just like, I guess, go with it and like, oh, this is a new idea, and then it's like, let's test it. Let's take the merits of this new idea and let's roll with it, and let's see the benefits. Let's see the risk reward factor. And if this is something that may be beneficial to me, those are the kind of approaches that I take to those kinds of things. And same thing with when other things outside of my control happen. Like I've learned to just, okay, this is outside of my control. Is this actually a good thing or is this a bad thing? Am I getting upset over nothing? You know what I mean? Or is this a valid reason why I'm upset at this person for doing this? Like, you kind of got to take those two things. And it takes a lot of practice and it takes a lot of focus to actually do that. So that's the part I also like about this article. It's like, it's simple, yet it's like it's like the harder thing to do. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is. And that skill, like, that's hard because we get into this confirmation bias. We like things that sound like what we think and make us feel. And when something is outside of that, you immediately just dismiss it or challenge it. But cultivating that skill, like you're talking about, that's hard to say. That's interesting. How did you come up with this? Like, where did you get that information? And being curious, like, I've never heard such an angle on them, thought on them, and being curious. Maybe they're right. Maybe they're fucking bonkers. But we don't know until we have a conversation. Like, maybe somebody, I don't know how many times, and it's hard. I struggle with that all the time. Like, listen, man, you're a dumb fuck, and let me explain to you why.
Just like, let me tell you why.
I'll tell you all the reasons why. And it's hard because you get in that mode. Like, listen, I've got information that you don't have. Right. And unfortunately, my presentation method is horrible.
But you also, that's the other thing too, is like you're right. You have information that this other person have. So this other person, without that information, it's hard for them to come to the same conclusion that you have, and many times it's hard for this person to receive the information that you have because they're either it's the wrong timing for them. They don't want to hear it. Other people have told them before and it's just left a bad taste in their mouth. Like, you have to understand that person, they have control over their mind per se, but, according to Sam Harris, free will is not also free, but whatever.
Episode 45.
Whatever. But you know what I mean? Like, you got to realize this. And like, the second thing we have here is like, you have power over your mind. Like, not everybody has that.
Yes.
Everybody tends to stay in their lane, but like, I don't think they realize where their lane ends and where the next person begins. It's just kind of weird, but no.
Yeah, that was a good thing. Good skills. Let's work on that more. Like I all the time, like it's hard to listen to somebody and just try to take in their perspective, their viewpoint, their thought process, their whatever, and be cordial and be receptive. But a lot of times when I've done that, I'm like, dang, like wow, thank you for shattering my former beliefs. Like, but if you can hold these things, like, I forget how the saying goes, whatever, but strongly held opinion, like loosely held opinions, like strong opinions, loosely held, something like that or whatever. You're able to just constantly evolve. And that's the thing that you hear a lot. Oh, they're flip-flopping. Well, I'm glad they're flip-flopping. That means they've learned something new and they've changed their opinion. They've got new information and they have changed their opinion. That's not a bad thing. We all should be evolving. We should be like water. We're constantly moving and flowing. I was listening to the Bruce Lee thing earlier today.
All right, Charles Darwin. Okay, survival.
But it makes sense, right?
We have to adapt. We have to.
But we do, right?
This is true.
Think about all the things. Think about the rapid change we've seen in the past few years and in the next few years coming.
Dude, just
if you are stuck, your job is going to probably go away. You know what I'm saying? If you can't get past whatever you're doing now, if AI or whatever, or a machine or a robot is ready to take your job and you're like, I've always been this and I can never be nothing else. Guess what? You're not going to be anything else. If that's your mentality, you can't learn. You can't take the next steps. You can't say, these were my beliefs and I've got new ones now. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah. But, just as you talk about in the last, decade or so, since the invention of this,
right,
it's changed dramatically for humans.
Yes.
It's like this wasn't around before 2007.
No. Yes.
And now that it is, your life is completely different.
I remember you and I sitting there watching that Apple keynote when that first phone came out, and we're just like, you could do what?
Yeah. Remember when I brought it home, dude? We were like,
we're comparing my BlackBerry with that thing. Can your phone do this? No. Can your BlackBerry do this?
Yeah, we're just like comparing it, like wasting the battery like instantly.
Yeah.
And just figure out all the things that it can do. But those are the kinds of things that like you gotta understand that humans are capable of so much more. Like we are capable of so many more things than we're set out to be. We are stuck, we are stuck in this pattern, and sometimes we just gotta break free and like something like this, and we can adapt. It's like
and that goes to the next point of the article. From Marcus Aurelius, you have the power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find that strength.
Yeah.
And it's funny, a lot of these things, I think maybe some of you people will recognize them from biblical references, something like that. These guys lived around the same time as Jesus was supposedly lived.
Right.
Seneca's brother is actually in the Bible, one of the quoters here. So these things sound similar. Interestingly, though, two different parts of the world that they lived in, but they lived in the same time. And these were kind of the sentiments of the time,
right?
So, but this is one of those things I learned when I started reading Stoicism stuff a few years ago. And it's like, damn, like that outside events, I have no control, but I fight so hard. Yeah, and it has nothing to do with me, and I can't do nothing about it.
But you're not alone, dude. A lot of people fight outside. Sometimes they let outside events control their whole day, control their emotional states, control how they spend their money. Like it's crazy. It's unreal. Like if people just realize that they can hold fast and stay to themselves without listening to what everybody else or what the outside world is saying.
Yeah.
It's amazing to just stand fast in that and hold still. It's like, it's crazy, but I don't know.
Yeah. And every time I hear this quote or something similar, it reminds me of Robert Kiyosaki. I think it was in Rich Dad Poor Daddy, with mind your own business. Yep. I never really got the full message of it.
Really?
I always thought of it as in a singular term, like, mind your own business, like your own wealth generation type things. I never thought about it in my actual personal life and how I conduct myself towards the outside, like other people and other things like that. I always like, yes, I'm my own business. I mind these things here that I'm doing. But listen, I can fix you. Come here. Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you for a second. Let me tell you about something here I know about. And that's what I always thought. And I spent a lot of time fighting with it and like, listen, just shut the fuck up. Let me explain this to you. And I'll change your mind. And it doesn't work. And it took me a long time to figure that out. But now that I've really embraced this thing of this is out of my control. Right. I can try and influence things. I can be a good example. I can do what I can do and I can be the best person. Hopefully that'll inspire you to do the same thing. That's all I can do. That's it. Now that I do that, so much less headaches I get from not literally physical headaches. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I kind of like that from Robert Kiyosaki. For those of you that don't know, Rich Dad Poor Dad, great book. But I like that. Like to me, I always thought of it as like a play on words, right? Because it's like when you think of that, mind your own business, people think of it as like, I don't know, local status, your Kuleana, or you know what I mean? Like, mind your own things. Like, don't worry about what's happening with my life. Just worry about your life kind of thing. But like really that message, mind your own business is just getting you to realize like, what is your business? What is your focus? Like what things are going on? Because if you're not in control of your world, if you're not minding your own business and thinking about what it is for you, somebody else, right? This outside event, this extra force can come into your world and steal that from you.
Right.
And like, you know, a lot of people have opinions. A lot of people have great value in their life, but they don't always fight to protect it. They're so quick to, oh, so-and-so said this. And like all of a sudden, everything that you're thinking just goes right out the window, and you're on this new train path, and who you are and where you just were, instead of staying steadfast in it, you get absorbed into what's outside there. That's not always the best solution. I mean, take consideration to outside events because they will affect you, but at the same time, don't get so absorbed or pulled away from what it is you're doing. I don't know. But.
And that's a good point. What happens as humans when we trust somebody, we have that like, know, and trust things. What they say, we don't go out and validate. So you've got to be careful who you give your trust to, who you're taking information from. Because like let's, you know, Tim Ferriss. If Tim Ferriss recommends something to me, all the experiences I've had with him, all the things I have, I know I don't have to validate that. I just got to know, is this product right for me? If it is, I'll take it because I know he's done the work, he's put in the time,
right? And
he won't put his name behind something he hasn't tested, tried, and done all these things. And that when you trust someone at that level, you've got to be careful because you know if they can easily abuse that trust, you know, or they could have built that trust with you from a position of I'm going to abuse it later because I know once I have it, you're not going to check me anymore. So you've got to be careful who you give that to, which goes back to who you surround yourself with. That's virtually, that's in person, that's who's in your feed and all these things.
Yeah, you gotta do the checks and balances, and you gotta reevaluate things from time to time. Don't, you know, just because somebody has your complete 100% trust today, you know, tomorrow or 10 years from now or whatever the case might be, anywhere in between there, you gotta check that. You gotta kind of check where you are. But yeah. But getting to our next point, I guess.
Yeah.
This other one too, that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Like this kind of takes us back to like civilization and its discontent.
It does. And you know, on this point, you know, I'm going to say these things lightly. I understand that they're not going to be taken that way, and that's fine. You want to add complexity to things, that's on you. This is why I think this is something that comes to mind when I hear this. I hear depression and anxiety. So depression is your thoughts of the past. Anxiety is your thoughts of the future. Yep. You have these problems, please seek professional help, whatever you got to do. But understand, bring this to the simplest form. Why am I depressed? Something happened in the past. That sucks. That's shitty. I get it. But now that you know this, okay, what can I control now? That happened, you know, 1 month ago, 2 months ago, 10 years, 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever it is. That's gone. It's over with. That moment is past. Even if that moment is yesterday. Even if it was fucking 10 minutes ago, that's gone. It's over.
Yep.
Every time now, you are bringing that up. You're playing that story in your mind. You're doing these things. I know it's tough to hear. I'm not a fucking psychologist. I'm not a therapist. If you need to see one, go see one, please. I'm not trying to make light of this. I want to bring these things. Let's simplify. Let's start digging down into this. If you're going to get past these things, you've got to be real. Like, you know, this thing is over with. It's in the past. Is it easy? I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. But there's things when you can recognize these things, you can start saying, oh, you don't understand. It's complicated. No, it's not. You're making it complicated. You're allowing that meaning to be assigned to the event.
Again, hence the title of the article. Like, if it's not simple, it's bullshit. It's like, you're just saying it's complicated, but are you really just trying to give us your BS, right? Your belief system behind all of this that's so complex, when in reality, it may actually be simpler than you think it is.
Mm-hmm. That's all I'm trying to say. And then the converse, the anxiety, the thoughts of the future, right? It's so easy. Like humans, we're so good at making up these stories and coming up with these vivid things. 99.99% of the time, the shit you imagine, it never happens the way you think of it.
And more often than not, when you start to get depressed or when you start to get anxious, like you go from this positive mode to now something that's this negative mode. right? And then when you're in this negative mode, like you get bombarded with all of these questions, right? That's really what thoughts are. They're basically just questions.
Yeah.
Well, what if this? What if that? And when you get into this negative mode with every negative question coming at you, like you just start to go downward and downward, and every question becomes more, I guess, harsh or more scary or makes you more anxious, right? At first it was like, oh, you know, I'm just, I'm worried like, oh, I'm getting a little fat. And then now it's like, oh, I'm obese. Now it's like, oh, I'm going to get diabetes. Oh, I'm going to get heart problems. Like, whoa. Just slow down. Like you're 10 pounds overweight. That's it. We're not getting diabetes just right away. We're not doing any of this. It's like, you know, you just focus on what you control. I mean, you know, it's like if you're 10 pounds overweight, okay, let's stop drinking soda. Let's start eating better. Let's just go for a walk. We don't need to go for a 10-mile run in the morning. Like, just start walking. Like your anxiety about things that will happen in the future when you're in this negative form or this negative downward spiral, those things you got to learn to just cut that off. Just stop it. You got to learn to interrupt that pattern, because that kind of thinking can get people into anxiety and depression. Like, and it's hard to come back if you go way down that spiral.
Yeah, and it's easy to keep self-reinforcing that. You stop doing things, and these things, you know, start to sort of happen. Like, oh, see, I'm 15 pounds overweight. Like, if you would have just taken some action and different things. There's some great research out there now. I've been really interested in. I'll link to some articles in the different MDMA therapy they have, different psychedelics and stuff that they've really, you know, just a few treatments. I mean, you know, please, if you are interested in this stuff, seek an experienced guide or something like that.
Go see your doctor.
There's clinical trials that you can get into for these different things, but there's really great promise. I heard there's this one article they published that they were using MDMA to treat PTSD. 1 to 3 treatments, cured, done, gone.
I think you're telling me.
Huh?
I think you're telling me about that for the PTSD.
Right. Yeah. Right. So that study wound up fast tracking that through the FDA, and they had immediate approval given for research with MDMA. So there's lots of great things going on in psychedelics. It was really stagnant for many, many years, but these things are coming up, magic mushrooms and these different types of things. And all these therapies and stuff are coming. Yeah. They're being studied. There's a lot going on there.
Things
and there's
come and
really
go in cycles.
Yeah, but there's really great rapid results. The government is getting behind this stuff now, and they're allowing these testing to be done. If you are a person that's looking for a option, I will link to some great resources that I'm aware of in this research. You know, it can really be I think a big help, and I think there's great stuff happening in this space.
Yeah. But anyway, we're not suggesting that you have problems or that you need drugs to solve your problems. Yeah,
I'm just saying there's an option to use drugs.
I know, but just saying there's options. But getting back to the article,
seriously,
and
don't do dumb shit and blame me.
But getting back to the article, and you know how we're talking about, yes, if you do have depression and anxiety, we're not trying to belittle, you know, our understanding of it or make light of it or anything like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We're just trying to grab something that seems very complex and trying to break it down into something that's simple. And that kind of leads us into our next topic that we're talking about is any scientist who couldn't explain it to an 8-year-old what he was doing was a charlatan. And like kind of playing off the last topic that we talked about, you know, we're taking something like depression and like anxiety, and we're breaking it down into simple forms so that we kind of don't get caught up in the hype, and so that we don't understand what something is, right? Depression, fear of the past, right? Anxiety, fear of the future. Like those are pretty simple, concrete terms. And don't get me wrong, we can't just fall under what those things are. But if we can break things down to something that we can explain to an 8-year-old, right? Your 8-year-old comes up to you, Dad, what's depression? Like you're going to go into this long thing about what it is versus just be, you know, son, depression is just fear of the past. Like how simple is that? Like an 8-year-old can understand what that is, you know? And like sometimes we go so far into this long drawn out explanation that kind of clouds our mind and clouds our judgment about what the real actual problem is. By simplifying things, it can kind of give us a little bit of a clearer understanding, so that we can be more precise in our speach.
That sounds familiar. Episode 15. 12 Rules of Life.
Well, just, those kinds of things. Like, I mean, granted, there are things that are complex, or, operations that the operation itself is simple, yet all the theories and all of the research and all of the terminology and everything behind the operation, I guess, if you want to go into the medical field or into law or real estate, like, there's a lot of background on doing something. But when you come down to putting it in its simplest form, it's like real estate is just buying a house.
Or selling one.
I'm not trying to make light of the subject, but the actual act itself is rather simple. You go through the process and do it, but it's everything behind it that you have to understand. That is the complex part. So if you are truly a master, right, in what you do, if you're a master in your craft, you can take something that's so complex and so versed that not many people understand it to the depths that you as a professional or you as a master crafter understand it. Yet you can explain things as if you were talking to an 8-year-old, so that people kind of have an idea of what it is they're getting into, what it is they're doing. Like, being able to take something so vast and like to infinity and beyond, and then just like making it something simple. All mysterious, wonderful power, itty bitty living space. But anyway, sad jokes.
Yeah, that's the thing that I when I maybe like a year or so ago, I came across this sentiment, and it made me, stop and think. When, especially, I guess I notice it most with my kids, and they're like, "Hey, Dad, what is this?" And I'm like, it's this thing that what happens is, and it's like, and then in my mind, I'm like, man, I know this, like, I just know it, but I can't explain it. And then I now with this new knowledge, I'm like, because I don't really know it that well.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm like, you know what? I kind of understand it, but I can't explain it to you. Let's look this shit up so I can get a better understanding of it, and then you can also know the answer to the question. But being able to have that clear understanding, then you can have clear thoughts, then you can have clear speech. They all go in succession. So when you feel yourself in that mode, no, I don't understand this enough.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. That's perfect.
Just know you're not at master yet. Stop pretending like you are. You know what I mean? It's okay to say, you know what? I don't know. Or, you know what? As an industry, we don't know.
Yeah.
And being okay to say that.
If there's something out there, it's like, let me go get some more information and I'll get back to you. Like, those kinds of things, like taking ownership and being able to say what you do and what you don't know. Some people think it's weakness.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, some people think, like, oh, I don't want to seem weak by telling this person that I don't know. But in actuality, I think sometimes it's quite opposite. Sometimes you're the stronger person for saying, you know what? I don't know. And then from there, you can take ownership of that, go out, do the research, and then come back and get the right answer so that you can give the right feedback. Like, to me, it takes a stronger person to say you don't know, go out there, do the hustle, do the work, and then get back to somebody, versus the person who just tells a little white lie. They top it off with confidence, or they top it off with this BS, right, of over explaining something that they really know nothing about, and then walking away from the conversation and not having to do any research, not having to go back and do any follow-up. Like, it takes a stronger person to do the later, to say, I don't know, do the research and come back, versus just lie about something that you clearly have no understanding of.
Yeah. And that's two things I like to add to that. When you say you're gonna get back to them, you gotta follow up. You got to do that. A lot of times it's happened. I've seen it a lot of times. Let me get back to you. And it's like a week later, and it's like, you figured that out yet? Oh, well, I didn't even actually do anything about it. It's like, thought you said you were going to look it up and get back to me. Like, well, you're fired. Next. And, you know, you've got to follow through. You've got to do that.
Right. And that, again, I'm just saying it takes a stronger person to do that part of it. Anybody can say, oh, you know, I don't know. I'm going to find out. Like, if you just stop there, you might as well just have lied to them and told them in misinformation, because it's pretty much the same thing. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to sound like your dad or anything. I want to end this topic on a little cute note. This kind of reminds me, I don't think he was 8, but I think he was a little bit lower like that. And being from Hawaii or whatever the case, if people don't out there watching this video and you don't know what a lei is, right? Like, I think we were watching Lilo and Stitch, and my son was like, he's like, Dad, that's a lei. And I was like, oh, you know what a lei is? I was so happy. I was like, oh, you know what a lei is? And like, I was trying to test him. And I was like, what is a lei? And he's like, Dad, he's like, a lei is a flower necklace. And I was like, damn.
Oh, dang.
I was like, but you know what I mean? Like, it's something that's so simple. I mean, I don't know how old he was, probably like a 5-year-old. Like, I was like, that's a pretty clear definition of what a lei is. Like, I was like, damn. I was like, that's cool. I was like, that's pretty G. I don't know. Kind of like to end on that.
There it is. Simplicity is key.
Yeah, it's good, clear.
It really is.
But yeah. But anyway, so I kind of, I guess, want to wrap this up a little bit. Yeah. But, you know, to the fact that, yes, we, you know, as somebody who is well versed in anything, you know, if you're knowledgeable on a subject, let's just take, I guess, for my instance, because I'm in the medical field, I can take something as vast and as complex that it took me, you know, 3 years of school to accomplish, and then explain it to somebody who's, you know, just layman terms. This is what we're trying to do. This is what we're trying to accomplish. I think we were talking the other day about pneumonia, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, so just kind of going into simple terms about that. You know, but however, like, there are so many factors and so many other things behind it. Just if you're the person that is receiving this information from, you know, I guess I'll get back to the example. This girl was asking about pneumonia, and I was just giving my explanation, right? And doing my best to put it in simple forms. You know, I just didn't want to walk away from that conversation, you know, explaining something as vast as pneumonia into something that's such a simple term. And then in turn, this young girl thinking that she knew everything she needed to know about pneumonia just from our conversation. So this is kind of like, I guess, the flip side of this. It's like, yes, things like medicine are complex. There are lots of theories. There's lots of research. There are lots of studies that get put out every day about certain things, you know. So the understanding of the subject matter is something that is complex and does take some time to master. But when you are, I guess, opening your mind and learning about something, and somebody explains something to you and something that's simple and easy to understand, I guess my caveat is just don't walk away thinking that you know everything there is to know about the subject because somebody explained it to you in a form that's simple, in a form that you understood, and now you think you're ready to get out there and start explaining it to other people. Like, you know, just be cautious with that. It's like somebody did a good job of explaining it to you, okay. But also on the flip side, you also have to understand what it took for that person to be able to explain it to you. It took that person a long time, a lot of schooling, seeing a lot of clinical trials, reading a lot of information in order to do that. So just because you read one book, I read one book about real estate, I'm a real estate professional now. Like,
I'm a mogul.
It's like, yeah, you got.
I'm a guru.
You got
That's the new word now, right? I'm a guru.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, people, gurus don't call themselves gurus. Stop it.
You're dangerous now, but yeah. I think you might need to do a little bit more research. So I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. Things.
You know something that's super simple to do is to head over to thesocialchameleon.show /pick-me, get into this month's giveaway. Super simple. And guess what? You can win free shit.
There you go.
Y'all love free shit. We always try to put together just great packages and great things to help you folks have more knowledge, have more mastery, have more experience, live a better life. Get over there, get in. Super simple. There's no bullshit. It's all good stuff. Socialchameleon.show/pick-me. Get entered into this month's giveaway for your chance to win our amazing, amazing prizes. And then for this article, if you'd like to read it for yourself without my craziness, or if you'd like to read more about different things that are on the dailystoic.com, I'll link this in the show notes of the Daily Stoic book and the journal. I think are great resources to have. I think they're more great wisdom like this. I will link to those if you're interested. And then this week's challenge, know your shit.
Mm-hmm.
Where can you find simplicity?
Yep.
In your thinking, in your communication, in your job, in the purpose you have with life, in the things you're doing. It doesn't have to be complicated. You are complicating it. You are allowing complication.
Nice. And I guess we can close with the final thoughts is you want to expand your mind, but expanding your mind isn't necessarily always what you think it is. Most people think of expansion as going at great mass to expand and become bigger. But in today's final thoughts, I want you to expand your mind by making it smaller and more simple. Yeah.
Another simple thing to do is to find people that are complex, that like to think everything has got to be complex, and share this with them and let them know their simplicity. Or maybe they're just full of shit. We'll have to figure this out. They've got to watch this episode, read this article to know about it, but share it with them, enlighten them, give this gift to them, and give us a gift by giving us some reviews. You know, sharing the show, sharing the episodes, it really helps us bring on great, amazing guests like we've been having. And we've got a lot more coming up. Tons of people scheduled in here. It's going to be great for you guys. You guys can also connect with us in between episodes at the Social Chameleon Show, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those great fun places, as well as subscribing on YouTube for the video version, as well as your favorite podcast app like Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those great places. For past episodes and links to everything we talked about here today, you can visit thesocialchameleon.show. And until next time, keep it simple and keep learning and growing and transforming into the person you want to become.